What do the new characters mean for Stranger Things 3? We've got some headline news from Hawkins, Indiana in the form of a casting call for 3 new characters. Now, either we just got our first real glimpse at what to expect for the upcoming season, or we have an elaborate Tide ad on our hands.
It's a Tide ad.
Let's assume it's not, and that we are actually getting some spoilery details about what's to come in the Upside Down, so in that case, here is your spoiler warning.
Oh, Tide! Tide!
Now, following the Halloween-y release of Stranger Things 2 last year, the Duffer Brothers revealed to IndieWire that they were looking at making number 3 almost weirdly intimate. This means it will be character-focused instead of building on Hawkins, the Upside Down, or the lab kids who are presumably scattered around the world with superpowers. And rather than putting Will Byers front and center as the former human host of the Big Bad Mind Flayer, ST3 will feature the full ensemble of Hawkins kids and their angsty teen lives, because really, high school is the real horror story here. Now, a casting breakdown from the folks over at the Hashtag Show has revealed the 3 new characters, kicking things off with Mayor Larry Klein, who's described as a classic 80s-style slick politician. Klein is described as pathetic and driven only by his own interests. Next up is Bruce, a morally compromised news reporter in his 50s. Now, Bruce was described as outwardly sexist, overweight, and bedraggled. Now, this isn't the first time we've seen journalism in Hawkins with Brett Gelman's Murray Bauman. And the final new character the Hashtag Show described is Patricia Brown, a woman in her 70s who tends to her garden and gives the kids advice. She's described as a sweet neighborhood elder. So what do these characters tell us about Stranger Things 3? Well, this time around, the Double Duffs are keeping their specific 80s movie references a secret, maybe because a lot of the speculation about Stranger Things 2, based on what they told us last year, ended up being pretty spot on. However, the internet has already speculated that Mayor Larry could be similar to the mayor in Jaws, working to cover the Hawkins Lab's tracks in exchange for a payout. And the reporter character Bruce seems like a natural rival for Brett Gelman's reporter character, who worked with Nancy and Jonathan last season to expose the shady haps in Hawkins. But what about Patricia Brown? The Duff Bros say they're looking for a sweet old lady in her 70s, but if the previous seasons of Stranger Things are any indication, this woman won't just be content tending to her garden and eating handfuls of their originals. So why would the Duffer Brothers need a 70-year-old woman as part of the cast? To keep this Jaws reference train rolling, our guess is that she'll exist in sort of a Quint role, informing the kids about the early days of the Hawkins lab experiments, or just acting as an info source for past supernatural events in the town, presumably right before being eaten by an interdimensional great white shark. Or she could be related to the MK Ultra program that gave 11, 8, and the other numbered kids their powers. MK Ultra took place only a decade or so before the events of the first Stranger Things, and with the numbers being in their pre to mid-teens, Patricia is probably too old to be any of their parents, but it's quite possible she may have been involved as a doctor or in some other administrative capacity. As we all know in popular media, sometimes the best way to move forward is to move backwards, and these characters giving us a look into Hawkins' past could add a whole new dimension to Stranger Things. And no, we're not talking about the Upside Down. But what do you folks think? How will these new characters affect Stranger Things 3? Did you like Stranger Things 2? And could this whole thing just be a secret David Harbour Tide commercial?
Tide.
Let's discuss. And be sure to like and subscribe. And did you catch our brand new show, Bizarre States Declassified? Andrew Bowser and I dig into the weird at the Mystic Museum as we talk to celebrities and experts about their experiences with the paranormal, occult, cryptids, and some seriously spooky stuff. You can check it out on projectalpha.com and make sure to use the promo code MYSTIC to get 60 free days.